Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. It is Midweek Magazine time, episode number 4. This time we are taking a look at strategy and tactics. This is a very long-running war game magazine. Goes back to the SPI days. It is number 346, the May-June of 24 issue, so not very long ago, but not the current issue either. And this one is Battles of Andrew Jackson is the game that is included with it. We also, as you can see here, have articles on the Somme, Malta 1565, and wartime aid to North Vietnam and North Korea. So I'm going to slide the game materials out for a moment, and we'll take a look in the magazine like we usually do. All right, so you've got some ads here, of course, at the beginning. This is published by Decision Games. Hence, the opening ad is for Der Weltkrieg from SPW, published by Decision. And then you've got more ads, and here we go. So, table of contents, we've got the feature on page 6, Battles of Andrew Jackson, the Creek War, and New Orleans. Toulouse Battle, the Somme, 1916. That's on page 22. On 34, we've got the Great Siege of Malta from 1565. On 46 here, we have Soviet and Chinese wartime support to North Korea and North Vietnam. And then departments, Joseph Miranda's on design, work in progress, Siege of Jerusalem, 80-70. World War I, J.F.C. Fuller and Plan 1919. 56, Did You Know? And then 58, Flashpoints, Wartime Arithmetic in Ukraine, War for the Essequibo, the Gaza War, Indian Navy plans major expansion. 62, For Your Information, Last Battle of the 100 Years' War, Castillon. Spying in the American Revolution, Die Hard, the USS Pecos, the Battle for Khafji. Media Reviews in the Long Tradition. All right, so we have our information here. Our publisher, of course, is Dr. Christopher Cummins. He is the man behind Decision Games. And you've got all the other people. Senior editor, Ty Bomba. Ty is everywhere. Editor emeritus, Joseph Miranda. He does a lot of the designs for the games that appear in the Decision Games magazines, both Strategy and Tactics and World at War. Unfortunately, from my standpoint, Modern War is no longer published. So here's an article from the aforementioned Joe Miranda on the battles of Andrew Jackson, the Creek War in New Orleans. So you can see they give it a nice historical treatment here. Here's our Creek War of 1813 to 14 and various battles that took place. So that's one part of the battles. And then over here you've got a more close-up look at the Battle of Horseshoe Bend along the Tallapoosa River, I should say. There's my accent coming out again. Jackson's approach, etc. You've got a log barricade and so on. So good historical background. I love this stuff. It's outstanding. Davy Crockett. Then you've got the War of 1812 here. British approach to New Orleans. That was, of course, arguably Jackson's most famous battle was the Battle of New Orleans during the War of 1812, or actually right after the war ended, although nobody knew it yet. Took place on January 8th, 1815. Then we have our rules for the game, and we'll take a look at the, well, we can go through this fairly quickly, I think. Introduction, components. Then you've got, so we get a look at the counters here that we'll see in a little bit. Our sequence of play, fog determination, first player turn, artillery bombardment, movement, combat rally. Second player turn, same thing for them. End of turn phase, very straightforward. Victory conditions, victories evaluated at the end of the final game turn of a scenario. Victory points are received for eliminating enemy units and other conditions per scenario rules. Victory points are only awarded at the end of the game unless otherwise specified. Here's your procedure for figuring that out. Then they go through, of course, all the things about visibility of the things that are in our sequence of play, like the fog, your artillery, movement. We've got zones of control and the effects of ZOC combat. All right. CRT results, just the key of what it is. AD, attacker disoriented. AE, attacker eliminated. AR, routed. BX is a disorder exchange. So both sides take a little bit of a beating there. DD, and they just kind of match up. DD, DE, and DR. ABT results, retreat and pursuit. Unit status and rallying. Leaders, demoralization, reinforcements, unique units and columns, scenarios and setup. So you've got two, at least two, I think it's two, but you've got scenarios and setup for Horseshoe Bend, which was during the Creek War. And then you have New Orleans. And you have some optional rules here. And then we have our charts and tables. So here's our TEC, the terrain effects chart. And our CRT and our artillery bombardment table, the ABT that we saw earlier. Then we have some weapon information here. And back to the articles. And here's a little bit of Joseph Miranda talking about how he designed the game. And here's the article on the Somme. Of course, a big battle during the First World War. Got a nice little map here. I always love maps. You've got Field Marshal Douglas Haig and German Field Marshal Erich von Falkenhayn. Nice little trench photo there. The big old guns, British heavy howitzers. Another map. Wounded British infantrymen. To win a war, the AEF, so the American Expeditionary Force. You got a tank, and you've got your Folio game advertisement from Decision Games for some of their games covering the First World War. Loos, Vimy Ridge, Meuse Argonne. Great Siege of Malta, 1815. More maps. The strategic situation. Here's a map of Malta. The Turks arrive. The Grand Harbor area during the siege. The Knights of St. John. There's a lot in here, and I don't want to run super, super long here. Opposing forces. Mediterranean empires. I have the magazine, 330. I have this magazine, and it was going to be, and it will likely be a midweek magazine at some point, but I do have this. So you get a little sneak peek at that. That's coming up sometime down the road. The Turks depart. Then we have our Soviet and Chinese wartime support to North Korea and North Vietnam. A little schematic look at a MiG-15. Soviet T-34s on parade in Beijing in October 1950 before being deployed to Korea. French surrender at Dien Bien Phu. The People's Republic of China, 1950 to 56. Supplies sent to North Vietnam during the First Indochina War. That would be the war with France. Here's a look at Vietnam. Communist supply routes into South Vietnam. U.S. aircraft bombing North Vietnam in 1966. And you've got some stats, again, on Soviet supplies sent to North Vietnam in the period 53 to 66. That's 150 tanks. It's interesting. And more this is Chinese supplies sent to North Vietnam, rather, between 55 and 63. Then you've got PLA personnel in North Vietnam as of 67. The PLA, of course, is the People's Liberation Army. That is the Army of China. Then we have another ad for Khe-Sanh. I've played Khe-Sanh. It's a good game. I've not played Korean War. I'm sorry, MiG Alley, Air War over Korea, but I would like to. Here's a work in progress look at Siege of Jerusalem, which is 348. I think that's the current magazine. And we have JFC Fuller and Plan 1919. Got some tanks on trains, rather, after the Battle of Cambrai in December of 17. Did you know? This is interesting. Operation Dingo. Swamp Fox. Wartime arithmetic in Ukraine. War for the Essequibo. The Gaza War. Indian Navy plans major expansion. So this is all kind of current day stuff here. The last battle of the 100 Years' War, Castillon. Power Politics series, Corrupt Bargain and Bleeding Kansas. So more politically oriented games. Spying in the American Revolution. This is probably a pretty interesting article. D-Day at Saipan. For your information, this is the USS Pecos. D-Day at Saipan. I've played that. I have videos on that game. Battle for Khafji during the 1991 Gulf War. Saddam moves south. That was Strategy and Tactics number 339. And Roman Conquest Britain, a book review by John D. Burt. The book is by Simon Elliott, Pen and Sword 2021. And we have some ancient battles here, Caesar's War and Belisarius' War. Some digital editions, a little highlight of the digital editions available for Strategy and Tactics and World at War. Gaps in your collection. And 300 issues ago. Here you go. Whoops. I like this long tradition. So you go back 100 issues, Strategy and Tactics 246, Manila 1945, Stalingrad of the Pacific. Then 200 was Strategy and Tactics 146. That was in November of 91, the Italian campaign, Sicily. And 300 issues ago, can't read the date on there, but this is Combined Arms Combat Operations in the 20th Century. And that game was designed by Jim Dunnigan and Steve Patrick. Sid Jackson reviews games, plus columns on the East is red, game variants, and player notes for Star Force. The American Bible Society in the First World War. This is sponsored content. And we have another ad at the end for the American Bible Society. And our back cover for Strategy and Tactics Quarterly Alternative Strategies for World War I. All right, so that's that. Let's take a look at the game now. So we'll start with the counter sheet. There is one counter sheet. Here we go. Andrew Jackson's battles. There he is right there. Andy himself. Along with Coffey, Doherty, Johnson, Houston. I guess Sam Houston. And we have some units. You can see the units. Artwork, very nice. Then we have, so this is Horseshoe Blend in the darker blue. The lighter blue down here is the Battle of New Orleans. So Jackson's a 3-8 in both. He has Coffey with him again. And more units here. Counter artwork there you can see by Jose Ramon Faura. And over here we have the enemy forces. So these would be the Indian Indian forces from Horseshoe. Sorry, spit it out. And then we have the British forces from the Battle of New Orleans, including their leaders: Thornton, Lambert, Pakenham, Gibbs, and we have some markers. We have the USS Louisiana, I guess, right there. Back. Again, some markers. Here's our turn, fog turn, and regular turn. All right, so there you have your counters. Now let's take a look at the map. Now, I will say this about the map. It feels pretty sturdy. It does have a cardboard insert here to hold it kind of rigid so it doesn't get wrecked in shipment, etc. But it's nice, sturdy paper. Pretty standard decision game stuff. I'm going to pause here for a moment and spread this sucker out so we can get a good look at it. Okay, so here we have a look at the maps. There are two maps. They're on the same sheet. So this side with our big old Mississippi River right through the middle of it, that's the Battle of New Orleans. We have a TEC, or not a TEC, a terrain chart up here, a terrain key right here. Then you've got your turn record track here, British units, Mississippi transit box, U.S. forces, Mississippi transit box. So this half, it's actually slightly more than half. The half line is right here. There's the midline. This is the Battle of New Orleans. We've got a little bit of fortifications here. It's not perfectly flat, but I'm not going to hold that against them. I just got it out of the bag. Then we've got on this side the Horseshoe Bend Indian battle on 27th of March, 1814. So this battle actually took place during the War of 1812. And we have the Horseshoe Bend Indian Band boxes down here at the bottom, here along the bottom. You can see here you've got the Andrew Jackson's Battles, game design by Joseph Miranda, map graphics by Joe Youst. Joe Youst does a lot of the maps for Decision Games, and he does good work. And here we have the Tallapoosa River. And you can see the Horseshoe Bend here. That gives the battle its name. Got a line of fortifications here. Your terrain key is for both games. And we have our turn record track here. British red stick demoralization level here. U.S. demoralization level going that way. North is up there, which would mean south would be this way. And there you have it. So that's a look at this. So yeah, you've got river hex sides, I guess, is what these dashed lines are for. I'm just kind of looking at the key real quick. But this is a look at the map that comes with the game. That is going to do it for the video. So I hope you found it interesting. Of course, there will be some gameplay for this. I'm not sure if I'll do one or both. We'll see. Time is always a key element in my decisions on these things. But I am interested in doing more non-20th century World War II, World War III, World War I, Korea, more stuff, especially stuff away from World War II, because that tends to be the bulk of my gaming, as it is for many people. This, kind of Napoleonic era stuff is something I'm starting to explore more often, and I'm interested in doing more of. But I don't want to digress right now. We're going to wrap this up. If you have any comments, any questions, etc., just something to say, please feel free to put it in the comments, and I will reply as best I can. And yeah, please consider liking, sharing, and/or subscribing. I always ask, and some of you actually do it. Thank you very much. But for now, that will be the end of this one. My name is Joe. This is the Hexed Encounter channel. And until next time, as always, happy gaming.